It's time for the Wrestling Observer Extra.
One more time for old time's sake.
With Dave Meltzer, right here on The Law. Live audio wrestling.
And let's go. We're now smoking with the best.
Hour 2 of The Law. In the next segment will be title bout trivia due to the delay of the online feed. I encourage you to call now as you listen to Dave's segment. 1-855-591-6876. There is a prominent anniversary today in the world of wrestling. The trivia will be on that. That's a slight tease, but not enough for you to completely figure it out and go and Wikipedia everything. So there's some surprise left.
All right.
We now go to the man we chat with at This Week Every Time. Dave Meltzer, how are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
Good. Dave, we've heard the guys have been on reviewing the New Japan card and giving rave reviews. Do you concur?
I concur. I think it was one of the best shows I've ever seen.
What about that main event, Dave? That
main event was incredible. It was unbelievable. How it's funny because about halfway through the match, I was thinking, this is a really good match. And people are going to go, but it wasn't as good as the Tokyo Dome. And then like about 45 minutes in, it was like, well,
yes.
I don't have to worry about that.
Yes, yeah. Well, that's the thing, and that's what we're getting from a few of our callers as well. Yeah, most people are liking this one even more than the January match.
I wouldn't argue that.
Yeah.
I thought that it's unbelievable to me that a match as good as the Tanahashi-Naito match is like maybe third best on the show.
Mm-hmm. And
that's what blows my mind.
Even Kushida's match as well. I thought Kushida's match was absolutely fantastic.
I thought that was the second best match on the show. Mm-hmm. I thought that the Tanahashi match, but they were close. But
yeah.
Those three matches were, I would have to look stuff up, but I don't know that too many shows that have had. I know some of them. There've been some really great New Japan shows in the last 3-4 years.
Yeah.
So I don't want to say like best show ever.
Right.
But
close. It's close. It's right up there.
It's in the ballpark of the best show.
Yeah, for sure. So. Now, do you suspect rematch will be held off till Wrestle Kingdom next year? Or do you see it happening before that?
That's a good question. I see it happening before that.
Really? Mm-hmm. Because they seem to tease something with Cody and Okada.
Yeah. I think Okada and Cody are going to be wrestling
in the States,
in Long Beach.
Right.
I don't know that. That will be tomorrow night. That will be official if that's the case. But certainly Okada and Cody are going to be wrestling. If it's not in Long Beach, then they're going to be wrestling in October, so I'm thinking it's Long Beach.
Right.
If that pairs off Cody for Long Beach and Okada, then what do you see for Omega? Is he going to be cleared and okay with all of his immigration issues?
Yeah. He's already cleared.
Okay, great. So
because he came in the country to do the press conference, if you remember.
So what does that mean for Omega for the Long Beach shows?
I know that there's going to be like an Omega and the Young Bucks match on one of the nights, and on the other night I don't know. They may do maybe he'll do a singles match with someone. I don't know who would be. Mm-hmm. I mean, he could go. I guess the dream program now, because if there's no Kota Ibushi, is to say maybe they'll do Omega with Tanahashi, because I know that's a big program that they wanted to do last year, and Tanahashi got hurt, and so it's an open-end program. I don't know that that'll be the case. I suppose that would make people really happy if it was, though.
Very interesting.
Moving over to WWE, Dave, we saw what was an excellent and a fresh segment on Monday night with Joe and Paul Heyman. Now, tomorrow, Brock Lesnar is going to be on the show. WWE has some very stiff competition going up against the NBA Finals tomorrow.
Yeah.
What do you foresee happening with Brock and Joe? Do they touch? Is there a pull apart? And if so, does WWE try to strategically aim this around halftime or open the show with it or end the show?
That's a really good question.
Yeah, where do you put it?
You know what? I honestly think they should do a big pull apart and they should touch. Normally I would say no, but I think that this one, just based on everything, I think you want and need something really wild. And I'd rather it would be done. But the question is, do you do it now or do you wait 2 weeks to do it? Because in 2 weeks, you're going to have a much larger audience to watch. So maybe you can make the argument that you tease something and you make it clear that it's going to happen, but it's going to happen in 2 weeks so everyone knows. And then you don't waste it on trying to strategically put it at halftime of the basketball game, which if you're going to do it, I guess that's when you do it. But the reality is you know what? I mean, it's like how many people watching that basketball game are going to tune back to wrestling at halftime? There really isn't that many. And how many people are going to tune out of wrestling to watch the basketball game? There's like I think most people won't even turn on wrestling. I was not going to say most, but the 20% that's going to be gone, or 15%, whatever it is, they're probably not even going to watch it. So in that sense, it really, I mean, it's better at halftime, but it isn't really that much better.
Well, with that logic, though, Dave, to me, it sounds like doing it off the top of the show would be best, because you might get, at least, because if they're a fan and they know what's going on, they might check in for the curiosity off the top.
That's true.
Give it to them off the top before the game gets going.
Yeah, I almost think that maybe 2 weeks from now is better.
Yeah.
I mean, it really would be good to do it now, though. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me either way, but I think that, like, if it was me now, my usual thought would say to do it now and get the ball rolling on the momentum. I wish that Lesnar was on the show next week, but I think that's the week he's off. But the next show that he's on, I would go real. I would go with a real physical angle, because they always don't. So I think that it's time to do it. And the key to the angle is that Joe stands up to him and stays even with him.
Yeah, takes him out, or even takes him out somehow.
Yeah, if he takes him out, it'd even be better. Yeah.
Well, psychologically, Brock should show up tomorrow and be absolutely furious.
Yes.
And just be
on a rampage.
Yeah, just on a rampage. I mean, that's the way it should go. And Joe standing up to him would be tremendous. The angle's encouraging, all I can say at this point after week one. On the SmackDown side, next week it's Money in the Bank. We have 2 Money in the Bank matches. We'll start with the women's here. Who do you see coming out of this one, Dave? Because very strange. We had a very strange segment this week with Lana, not thrown into that, but all of a sudden she's getting a championship match, and 5 women are going after this Money in the Bank title. Who do you see as the favorite?
God, it's hard. I mean, Charlotte's the one that's going to get the biggest push, but that doesn't mean that she'll win. I mean, I could almost see Carmella, just because they like to put it on a heel, and there's a babyface champion.
And you could have some fun with vignettes with her and Ellsworth, I think, with the briefcase and that. You know what I mean? I think you could have some fun with it before she cashes in.
Yeah. So I could see that. I don't really see Tamina, even though she's been kind of, and then Natalya. I don't know. I don't see Natalya with it either, even though she did real well in promos in the Nikki Bella program. But I don't know. I just don't think they're going to do it with her. So.
And do you think there's a switch between Lana and Naomi, and maybe Carmella does a quick cash in, or like
that's a possibility. Yeah. But if you do that, then you could always go with Charlotte. With the briefcase. But I tend to think that. I don't know. I mean, it could go to anyone. I tend to think that they won't go to Charlotte, but it wouldn't. I mean, you could make the argument that they would, just because
she could cut great promos with the briefcase, right?
She could cut great promos with the briefcase, and in the long run, she's going to be the face of the women's division on that side. I think that's inevitable.
It was strange having Lana roll out 1 week before Money in the Bank. Was this the plan, or was this thrown into the mix simply because Naomi needed an opponent? It's just very strange to have her jump right into the title mix.
I think it was the plan, because I remember a couple of weeks ago I was told that there was going to be a championship match and a Money in the Bank match. Huh. And then when they announced all those women in the Money in the Bank match, I just kind of forgot about the championship match. It was like, I guess they changed their mind. But so I think that probably always was the plan. Yeah, because I was told 2 women's matches on the show were champion, and So yeah, I think that it always was. Yeah.
See, and if that's the plan, it seems if they were thinking about it, that it would be Lana. And I could almost see Lana beating Naomi, and then Carmella cashes in on her.
I think if Lana wins, she's going to hold it for a while, just for the heat of it. I mean, as far as cashing in, maybe down the line, but
it's hard to say.
You could do that, because one of the things is, I think that if they want to establish Lana as a baby face, then that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
To have her, win the championship and then be screwed out of it. Yeah. That would make her a babyface. If that's the goal. And I think that the long-term goal is that, because of how they're positioning her, as the really super hot woman, and I think that's probably, better in a babyface role.
Right.
So they're over that whole marriage skirmish from earlier, where they started burying them. That's in the past.
That's done with.
That's a long time, and they got bigger fish to fry these days.
Speaking of Rusev, we still haven't seen Rusev.
Well, the Predators lost tonight, so he can come back.
Okay. So when I said about how the Lana thing was long term, well, the Rusev thing, they had a long term idea, and they did drop that one. I think that's where Jinder. I'm guessing that's where Jinder came in.
Yeah.
Right. But I don't know. Yeah.
Right.
Looking at the men's side of things for next weekend's show, Baron Corbin was left standing tall. You know, it's kind of, we've been leaning that direction that this is the guy that's going to get it. Did he get the advantage this week because he's not getting it at the pay-per-view? I got my fingers crossed for this, Dave.
There's really, when you look at that, there's really no way of predicting. They could do anything, but I got the sense that he was the favorite to win, to do the thing, because he's the one that they're, I know that they've groomed stuff with him, but the thing is like, I don't see him cashing in on Jinder. So, maybe there'll be unless that they want to make him into a super babyface, thinking that if he goes against Jinder and wins for America against Jinder, that he can be a big face. And I guess if he, that would be the way to do it if the idea is to make him a face.
Well, here we go. John Cena comes back. He defeats the evil Jinder Mahal for the title, and then Corbin comes in and destroys John Cena on SummerSlam night.
Absolutely can happen.
Yeah,
I can absolutely see that one. And then John Cena and Corbin have a run. Yeah.
Yep. That makes so much sense of something not really to look forward to.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
But how much is Jinder to look forward to? I mean, Jinder's, what I mean? It's like
just curious, Dave, what like the booking going into this match? It's so crazy. Like Jay and I were talking, Joe and Lesnar, such a unique thing. And here on SmackDown, you had Nakamura and Owens. Again, a really unique pairing. It would be great to see a program build up, and they gave it away in one match.
Well, it was a non-title match though, so it's still open. You know what I mean? Like he can still chase him for the U.S. title, and I think that he will. So.
I would like to see something come out of the Money in the Bank match where those two spin off into a program.
Yeah, well, I think that they are. Because they really haven't been going in the direction of AJ and Owens, so Nakamura's it feels like he's the guy in that spot.
Yeah.
Dave, just touching on this quickly, along with that, we saw Impact's first tapings in India this week. That was broadcast. What did you think of the presentation and the content?
I haven't seen the whole show, but I have seen most of it. Mm-hmm. It felt like another show of Impact.
That's what I felt like. I thought that it even visually looked like the Impact Zone to me.
Wasn't that the craziest
It was
thing?
really bizarre.
It looked exactly like the Impact Zone. And I think that the crowd was better because, at the Impact Zone, it's such a hard crowd, and this was a much easier crowd.
This crowd got paid, too, Dave.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, when you looked at it, it was like, this looks identical to what we always see. I thought we would have like when they go to the UK.
Exactly.
Totally
big stadium or big arena or something. They were in a TV studio, just like the Impact Zone.
Yeah, but it wasn't. It was like wouldn't you at least decorate it so it has an authentic look to it? I mean, it just looked like the Impact Zone. In fact, I had some friends over this morning before we watched the Dominion show, and we were watching the some of the TNA, and it's like they didn't even realize at first that it was not a new tape from India.
Yeah.
They thought that it was just the Impact
Right.
Zone, except when they did crowd close-ups, you could see that there were a lot of Indians in the crowd.
That was the only difference. It was like the Impact Zone was filled with Indians. Yeah.
Yeah.
All righty. Well, that's another week of Impact. We'll talk a little bit more about that in the show a little bit later. But, Dave, that does it for us with you this week. What is coming up in The Observer?
Well, I guess we're going to find out G1 and the Long Beach shows and whatever WWE does, like the record rating that they're going to do on Monday Night.
Yeah.
And story on Ron Starr. So, I mean, that's that much I know.
By the way, I just want to say I love the piece on Joe Silva this week.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thought that was really good, really interesting.
Yeah, he's quite a
character.
I know it's one of those people that people don't really know.
No.
And his influence on the history of MMA is just enormous.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, there you go. That's in this week's Observer, so you can get that at WrestlingObserver.com. Go sign up, and Dave will talk to you next week right here after Money in the Bank with, Carmella and Baron Corbin. Oh, my goodness.
That sounds so not great at all.
I know, it doesn't.
Wow, yeah. You're making me not excited. It's crazy.
All right, something to not look forward to. You didn't even bring up
Randy Orton against Jinder Mahal.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's happening, too. Yeah. Oh, man. All right, well, we'll talk to you after that glorious event next week,
take
Dave.
care,
Thanks
Dave.
much.
Okay, have a great week.
You too. WrestlingObserver.com is where you can find that revelation this game.
Yeah.
Well, it's 2 heels, though. I mean, that's something to consider, right? Maybe you're not doing 2 heels.
Right, could be.
That's thought.